back to Lessons Learned. I'm Sherry, and this is Monday Quilt Chat, where we chat about all the quilty things going on here with me and in the quilting world in general. So we're just going to chat for a few minutes, maybe about 20 to 30 minutes about all of that. And it's going to be a very disorganized sort of video, but hang in there, because if you like to chat, you're probably going to really like it. So give it a chance and let's just see what happens. Lately, I've been using a nice little organized list to do things, to talk about things, to chat about things here on Lessons Learned on Monday Quilt Chat. But today, not feeling the list, so I got a lot of stuff to tell you, but it might come out in a very disorganized way. When I left you on Friday, after the Finish It Friday, I made the statement that I am going to do lots of sewing in the sewing room this weekend, and I did do a fair amount of sewing. I worked a lot on the Blues Boutique blocks. I've got lots of those finished and running through that pretty quickly. It's a fun project, and been thinking a lot more about it and more ideas for our Humane Society donation. Maybe that could just be our little Lessons Learned charity for, from now indefinitely, from whenever to whenever. So, yeah, more and more ideas are popping up into my head about that. And some of you all have some great ideas about it too. So, yeah, I worked on those. But by and large, what I worked on over the weekend was scrap processing, scrap organization, making decisions about scraps. I have a lot of scraps, as most sewing, quilting people do. We accumulate a lot of scraps. Sometimes we even buy other people's scraps or trade scraps, all of the above. And if you remember when I did a review on some items a while back, it was probably mid last year sometime, I had bought a laundry sorter that has light, dark, and white, something like that. Anyway, I use it as light, medium, and dark for my scraps. And it works great. It works really good. But it's taken up a lot of space. I'll show you a picture of that right here. And you can see that there's a lot of real estate there that is wasted with the laundry sorter. So, I'd like to do away with that. I would like to pare down my scraps and keep up with my scraps. And some of you are in the background just laughing like, girl, you'll do that for a little while and then you'll be right back where you started again. Well, I'm going to try. I'm sick of my scraps, and I don't want to live with my scraps the way I'm living with them currently. I do enjoy processing scraps, but I don't know how much longer it's going to take me to go through that laundry sorter, but I am going to get through it. Now, I made a little clip of my current situation with the scraps, not just the laundry sorter, but also the bins that I have of scraps and how I'm dealing with those. I have 2.5-inch scraps that I cut. In the past, I have cut many sizes of squares on the 1/2-inch of all different sizes, 10-inch squares, 5-inch squares. I think that's it. I don't think I'm not cutting anymore anything smaller than 2.5, but I do have a large bin full of 2.5-inch strips, which are Jelly Roll leftovers and just scraps that the piece was big enough that I could make a width of fabric almost, if not completely, a 2.5-inch strip. So there's a bunch of those, and I will show you that clip right here so you can see how I've got those organized right now. So now I have two bins over here that are strictly two categories. Crumbs and strings in that top box. And the second one is 2.5 inch strips. And those 2.5 inch strips are leftover jelly roll strips or whatever I have cut from my scraps. Then I have selvages. And I have finished tops and binding, which is empty because I have a cabinet in the house now for that, so I can take that label off. I have the Square in a Square project, which is also, you saw me do this. I think I mentioned it on a Monday quilt chat. And I'm using a gray, and I'm using my 5-inch scrap squares. And that's that. And then let me show you something else. Alright, I have a variety of different sizes here. Most of them are on the 1/2 inch. So they're like 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, 9.5. And then also I have 10-inch squares. Tons of those. Some of those are left over from layer cakes. But some of them are from, I don't know, the bigger pieces of fat quarters, yardage, whatever that I had about a 10-inch piece of. That's what I cut it into. But that's not all. I have this 16 patch project, which you know about. I did the aqua one, and now I'm doing the burgundy one. So that's there. Let's see what else I can tell you about. Okay, so what am I going to do about the scrap situation besides get rid of them? How? How do you get rid of them? Well, the hope was from the beginning to use them in a project, right? You always keep those around thinking, I'm going to need that someday. I'm going to cut that down into this size and I'll have it when I need it. Well, the stacks get kind of big sometimes. You know, you don't use them as much as you think you will. This is a stack of 3.5 inch squares that I started cutting years ago. I quit cutting 3.5, so the stack did stop, but it was getting big. And then I also have a 4.5 that I quit doing, and I quit doing this before I quit doing this because I was like 4.5 is not a size that I need to have. It's a decent size, but more than likely you're going to cut that down into 2.5, and then you're just going to have this 2-inch strip for crumb quilting. So I don't do a ton of crumb quilting. I like to do it. It's just very time consuming. Super time consuming. I don't know if I'm going to even continue with that. I have that whole bin full of strips and crumbs. And I'm not talking about 2.5 inch strips. I'm talking about strings. So that bin that you saw that is strings and crumbs, you know, if you cut these down anymore to the sizes that I've been using, it's just going to make a string. So I stopped doing this, but I still have these. I can still do something with them. I could actually, I was going to say I could sell these on eBay. I might do that. These are going to be for an upcoming project, I think. I'm going to give you a sneak peek, and I'm talking about our sew along. I'm not going to make a video introducing the sew along this week. This week will be the Paducah Quilt Show. So that'll be Wednesday's video for this week. And then the following week, we'll get our sew along underway, but it'll just be the introduction to it. I will give you a sneak peek. Don't go cutting all of your scraps up just yet. These are 3.5 inch squares. And then for our sew and flips, they're 1 3/4. But like I said, don't go cut up a bunch of stuff just yet, because there will be other options that you might rather choose than what I'm choosing. I have 3.5 inch. I'm going to use these. Then I probably, maybe if I don't sell these 4.5s, I might go to these and just cut them down. And then from there I have the bigger squares, not my 5-inch. I'm not going to use my 5-inch because, as I showed you in the clip, I have a square and a square project going with the 5-inch squares. And there's probably at least this many or more of the 5-inch squares. So that's going to be an ongoing project, just like the 16 patches are. That's my plan. For now, I can change my mind, but that's what I'm planning for now. Another thing I was going to say, I did put some things on eBay, and the listings will be in the description box of this video. It will be free shipping and an auction style starting at 1 penny. So let me show you what I'm putting out there. Yes, I'm putting out some of the prototypes of some of the videos that I have done. This is a snap bag, which I have a video on this. It's using the leftover or discarded measuring tape metal pieces to make a snap bag. This will be on there. This is the wreath tie that I have a video on as well, where you tie a large ribbon around the bottom section of a wreath. That will be there. All of these free shipping, penny auctions. I don't want to ever see fairy frost in this room again. I made a quilt out of it. It was like a huge throw size, but you could never use it. Never use it as a throw. It's just too scratchy for me. There are some grays in here too that are a little bit more pearlescent and not as encrusted with this glitter. Now this glitter does not come off, supposedly. There are some glittery fabrics, you know, that it does come off of, but this fairy frost claims not to have that happen. I don't know. I've not ruffled it up too much to know, other than it will do a number on your rotary cutter, I feel. Somebody might disagree with me on that, but I think that it's hard. You should just dedicate, if you do a lot of fairy frost, you should just dedicate a certain amount of rotary blades to it. But this is scraps. Now you see there is a piece here that is about a ½ yard piece of black. And then there's a few pieces of the grays in there. So probably all in all, there's a yard and a half of fabric in here. A scrappy apron. I have a video on a scrappy apron. And here is the one for that I did. It's a one size fits all. I do know it's 26 inches long. Does not have pockets. You could certainly add pockets. These little purses that I made, little snap purses, they're not very big. They're cute, and you could certainly, you know, make this pattern with a longer strap, but the strap is a little bit on the short side. But this is made, I have a video on this, and this is just made out of 2 circles of fabric. So go find that video if you are interested in making one, and maybe you could make it bigger, make your straps longer, whatnot. So these will be on there also if you want to bid on one of these. I'm not sure if I should put them on as a pair. I mean, most people wouldn't just want these 2 for themselves, but you could share one with someone or give them both as gifts to different people that don't see each other. And then I also have this table runner, which is an applique type of design on each end. And I made this at a So Yeah retreat, and then I put some embellishment with thread on there. Turned out pretty cute. It's just plain on the back, and it has this Liberty, I think it's Liberty of London fabric on it. It's one of those 10-minute table runners, but of course with all of this it's not really 10 minutes, but the table runner itself is. So this is 42 inches long by 14 inches wide. So if you have purple, we didn't get to choose our colors. They just gave us packets for the class, and whatever was in there was in there. I don't have anything purple in my house. I like purple, like it fine, but I don't have any in my house. So that is going to be on there as well. Look around, look at the links in the description box if I decide to put some more on before this video is seen. So those are some things that will be out there. I may have a bag of crumbs, like little crumbs, not the crumbs that I have in my box over there, but the ones that are down by my sewing machine. And this is, well, it's not, I might wait on that. There's probably another 3 inches I could add to that. So when that gets full, that turns into a bag that I sell on eBay, because some people want those teeny tiny scraps for art quilting. Okay, another thing I did, and another thing I want to show you, is that I started a bin for the berry wreath project. I really wanted to start one of these this week or this weekend. Really wanted to. I might start one today because I'm just ready to do it. But here's what I do. Now these are the deep ones. These are not the scrapbook ones. They're actually from Michael's is where you get these. They're completely clear. There's no handles, but they do just kind of clasp together like that. But they're deeper, and that's why I like them. They're not like the scrapbook ones. It's the same concept as the scrapbook ones, but they're deeper. So these are considered a 12 by 12. I don't know why they're called 12 by 12, because they're way bigger than that. And they're not even a square. They're a rectangle. I think this is 17 across. So they're nice. If you've got the room to keep them, they're nice. So here's what I did. I put all of my fat quarters in here. My background fabric that I showed you last week is all in here. And then I print off the pattern. It's a free pattern. And I stick it in my notebook. The last thing I had in here was the Millie's dresses. So I took that out, put it in a sheet protector, hole punched this, and stuck it in here. So I am ready to go. I am. Can't wait to get started. I'm thinking maybe today's the day. I'm going to go buy flowers today and plant flowers if it's not too rainy. It's Sunday for me right now. So I am speaking of Monday when you're watching this. That's the day that I want to go buy flowers. But maybe it may be raining, which that might not be too bad of a day to go get. Whether I get to plant them or not is in question. But if it looks like a day that I just don't want to go do that little task, I'm diving into this. Yes, I'm diving into this. So let me show you the art quilt of the week. Here's my journaling. I've been tearing it up in here. I worked on the peaceful baskets. I worked on the scraps of the barn star. I cleaned my machine, changed the needle, and filled a bunch of bobbins. I finished our improv series. I did all of this with this. I worked on Happy Days borders. I got 2 done now. And of course the Blues Boutiques. I've been assigning myself 30 minutes a day just to see how that goes. And it's working out. I think it's going to work out in a timely manner. And also I needed to empty the Anne of Green Gables bin and the pressed flowers bin. So I got all that stuff out and processed that fabric and emptied those bins. So a lot of scrap processing, fabric processing, and I rearranged some things. Not rearranged, probably mostly to do with the bins. You know, I just kind of cleaned up the whole bin situation around here, and that just led me into doing some other straightening and cleaning. So I felt like last week I was super busy in here, even though I didn't get to my berry wreath block. So I'm thinking this is the week. So yes, let's see here. Did I put all that on the wrong week? No, I didn't. Did I not show you that? Yeah, I did. Did I? Yeah, I did show you that. I quickly forget. Okay, so here is the quilt of the week, and boy, is it a doozy. It's called Moon Tender. Moon Tender, like Tender. Someone who tends the moon. 33 by 38. Kristen Berg Kulinski of East Troy, Wisconsin. It says, Kristen enjoyed converting her daughter's original drawing into fabric, showing the moon tender holding harvest moon while the new moon looks over her shoulder. She used trial and error and small scraps to make the collage. See, people do use those small scraps, those ones that I sell on eBay. She completed the piece with machine quilting in various designs to keep all pieces where they needed to be. A ribbon winner at the Crazy Quilters Guild show in Muckwanega, Wisconsin. Yeah, Muckwanega is really putting out the art quilts these days. So this is interesting. I see the other moon looking over and see the moon in her hands. That's the harvest. Is it the harvest moon? Yes. She's holding the harvest moon while the new moon looks over her shoulder. So the interesting interpretations that you can make with fabric, it's just so unreal. And that just gave way to some very intricate quilting of all different kinds, free motion quilting on there. Very nice, very nice. Okay, so let's get busy with our new week. I'm going to have that Wednesday video of the Paducah Quilt Show for you. You're going to see lots and lots and lots of quilts and stuff. And then we'll be back on Friday for Finish It Friday. We'll see what I got done. Maybe I'll have one or more of those berry wreath blocks done. They're bigger. They're like pretty big size blocks. So that'll be fun. I hope some of you are doing this project with me too. If not, there's still time. Well, there's no timeline. Just jump on anytime you want. Free pattern. Use fabrics that you have already. Don't worry about using the same fabrics I'm using. Just get in there and do it with me if you'd like. Alright, sew along is coming around soon, so start looking at your fabric and what you might want to do. Wednesday after this coming, we'll talk about sizes, sewing. I'll get you a good intro video out. It may only take one video because this is a very versatile block. So stay tuned for that too. So if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss all this great stuff. And that way you'll never miss a video. I have 3 videos a week. So there's not too many channels out there with the sewing theme that has that many videos a week. So go ahead and subscribe so you get to see them all. Or at least you get them lined up there in the queue so you can start watching them. Alright, hit that black bell too once you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss those. Have a wonderful week in your sewing room. Do some beautiful things so that you'll have something to show on one of the Finish It Friday videos coming up. Alright, have a good one and we'll see you soon. Bye!